towns and villages built in places where it is impossible to live, settlements on active volcanoes, houses under glaciers, cities in scorching deserts and under constant storms. How do people survive in such conditions, and why don't they flee? Discover the 10 most extreme places on the planet right now. Subscribe to Mad World so you don't miss out on new incredible facts. Welcome to my channel. Today, we're going to places where it's simply impossible to live, but people do live there. A village on a volcano. In Indonesia, on the slopes of Mount Merapi, lies the village of Kintamani. Lava flows 5 kilometers away, ash falls every month, and houses shake from tremors. The city of Wales, Alaska, is an Inupiaq Native American community in the westernmost part of the North American mainland near the Bering Strait, and the phrase "city under a glacier" most likely refers to glaciers that are close to populated areas, such as the Hubbard Glacier. But there is no direct underglacier city. Instead, there is a city near powerful glacial systems, like Wales, which faces the consequences of melting glaciers and changing coastlines, giving the impression of living under a glacier. The extreme western point of mainland Alaska, facing Diomede Island in the Bering Strait. The population is small, around 145 people, 2010, mostly Inupiat, due to climate change and retreating glaciers. The coastline of Wales is becoming more vulnerable, affecting the lives of Inupiat communities. There are many powerful glaciers in the Alaska region, such as the Hubbard Glacier, which pushes into bays and can block them, causing water levels to rise and the destruction of coastlines. The Siwa Oasis in Egypt is an isolated wonder in the western desert, where the inhabitants use their resources in a unique way, extracting water from deep underground springs, keys, and collecting dew, creating life in the midst of salt lakes and palm groves, far from rivers. With a rich history dating back to the time of the pharaohs. Located far from Cairo, about 800 kilometers, in the Mediterranean Sea, it is a unique and distinctive place. Water. It relies on numerous fresh and saltwater springs. There are the famous Cleopatra springs and lakes that are saltier than the Dead Sea. Water sources. Residents use underground springs, some of which are very deep. 1 kilometer is mentioned, although this may be an exaggeration. But the springs are indeed deep, and they also collect dew. Shiva is not just a desert area, but an entire ecosystem that is fed by underground water and supports life due to its combination of climate and geological features. Residents have historically developed ways to use this water, including irrigation. Life in the Norwegian village of Herøy in the county of Nordland is a peaceful life on an island with a strong connection to the sea and nature, where the main activities are probably fishing and related tourism, despite the common disadvantages of Norway, such as high prices and taxes, but with the advantages of a high standard of living and values of equality. A fishing village in the midst of storms. The location on an island or archipelago provides proximity to fjords, mountains, and the sea, and activities such as kayaking, sea safaris, and fishing are popular. The Norwegian village of Herøy is located on cliffs, where 30-meter waves hit the houses during storms. Fishermen tie their boats to the house with chains to keep them safe and sound. In winter, people almost live without electricity. Herøy has a strong fishing industry and is developing as a tourist destination. Norwegians value nature, tranquility, equality, and have a home-based lifestyle, spending a lot of time at home with their families. But they are also friendly and welcoming. High standard of living, strong welfare state, equality, natural beauty, safety, and tranquility. High prices, taxes, harsh climate, and limited selection of goods. But overall, Herøy offers a typical Norwegian coastal lifestyle, combining natural beauty, tranquility, and proximity to the sea with a focus on outdoor activities and fishing. However, this comes with a higher cost of living. This is Tagaytay City in the Philippines. The city is actually built right on the edge of the huge ancient caldera of Taal volcano. It is essentially the rim of a giant volcanic crater with a diameter of about 25 to 30 kilometers. The caldera itself is filled with Taal Lake, and in the middle of the lake rises a volcanic island with its own crater lake inside. Here are some stunning views from the ridge of Tagaytay. At an altitude of about 400 to 600 meters above the lake, it is this difference in height that creates the feeling of being on the edge of a precipice. Here is another classic view from the Tagaytay observation deck, the volcano in the lake and the city. Right on the edge, yes, one serious landslide or strong earthquake plus volcanic activity, and there could indeed be very serious consequences. Taal is one of the most active and dangerous volcanoes in the Philippines. But Filipinos have been living there for hundreds of years. The soil is fertile, the climate is cool, the views are incredible, and there are lots of tourists. So yes, this is indeed the Atacama Desert in Chile is the driest desert on Earth, where rain falls only once every 10 to 15 years. However, what makes the Atacama Desert particularly interesting is the 11-meter tall hand that rises from the desert sands. The Hand of the Desert was created in 1992 by Mario Irreversible, who wanted to emphasize the vulnerability and helplessness of humans in the desert. However, looking at the hand, one can't help but imagine a stone giant buried beneath the sands, begging for help from its god. Only one thing is clear, an unusual phenomenon that appears like a mirage in the desert before the eyes of amazed drivers can shake them out of the monotony of the road and give them food for thought for the next few hundred kilometers of the way. In Atacama, almost everyone uses oxygen cylinders, or at least portable concentrators, when acclimatizing and climbing. The norm for tourists and guides is because the oxygen content is 40-50% of sea level. Rains in the region are really rare. In some places in the Atacama Desert, rainfall occurs once every 5 to 15 years, with an average annual rainfall of less than 1 to 5 millimeters. However, there is no permanent settlement within the crater, only archaeological ruins from the Inca period, sanctuaries on the summit and at the base, where the Incas performed rituals and left offerings. The name of the volcano translates to Mountain of the Village/Settlement. The highest active volcano in the world is Nevado Ojos del Salado, which is 6,893 meters high, according to the most common data, sometimes indicated as 6,887 to 6,891 meters, depending on the source of measurement. It is the highest active volcano in the world, a stratovolcano, with fumarolic activity. The last confirmed eruptive activity was about 700 to 1,500 years ago, but there are permanent fumaroles and signs of modern activity. It is located on the border between Chile and Argentina in the Andes, in the Atacama Desert region, the highest point in Chile, and the second highest peak in South America after Aconcagua. This volcano is considered the highest active volcano on the planet according to Guinness World Records, the Smithsonian Global Volcanism Program, and most geographical sources. For comparison, the next highest active volcano is Uyayaka, 6,739 m, also on the border between Chile and Argentina, but 150 m lower. It is a fairly popular route among climbers, not the most technically difficult, but the altitude and dry climate create their own challenges. This is our crazy, crazy world, a planet where people live where no one can survive. Like, comment, right where you couldn't live, and subscribe. More incredible facts are ahead.